she like I think, was it about Russia? What the fuck was she talking about? She's so forgettable. Oh my God. She had a couple statements that she made about like, criticizing Russia, I think. No, it wasn't the Willow Project. No. Recently. And like, she's currently touring African nations. Which is like, do you want China to just like completely solidify support from every African country? Because... Oh, it was about China, I think, maybe. Or no, I don't think it was about China. She's doing random side quests right now. But basically, like, there's no better way to solidify Africa's support for China by like sending Kamala Harris down there. It's just like you're cooked. You're absolutely cooked. But she had a statement. She released a statement. It was so bad. It was so fucking like useless and bad. Anyway, I don't want her to come back and tarnish this content machine.
Attorney Joe Tacopina. Joe, thanks for joining us again this morning. So your team got this call from prosecutors last night. What did they tell you exactly?
Not too much, other than there's been a true bill, an indictment, George, and that we're working out logistics for an arraignment for next week.
So that you then called President Trump. What was his reaction?
Initially shock, I will tell you.
Why was he shocked?
But after he got over that initial, George, because at the end of the day, we were really hoping, and he was hoping that rule of law would have prevailed. And look,
but he had predicted his own arrest.
He predicted his own arrest based on a leak, George, that had happened about 3 weeks ago, where there was a law enforcement meeting that was happening the day before to go through the logistics of an arraignment. So he predicted it based on rumors and leaks and whatnot. And this case has been permeated with rumors and leaks. As of yesterday, there was a 4-week adjournment in the grand jury proceeding. So, it was shocked because this actually is coming to fruition. I was always hoping that rule of law would have prevailed, George, but in my opinion, and I don't say this with pride or pleasure, in my 32 years as a lawyer, both as a prosecutor and defense attorney, I feel like the rule of law died yesterday in this country, and it's not something that I'm happy about.
Well, you're saying that, but you haven't seen the charges yet. There have been reports that there are at least 2 dozen, maybe up to 3 dozen possible charges. Does that surprise you? Does it suggest there may be more here than you're expecting?
Not at all. It's still, I believe, all focused around this Stormy Daniels confidentiality settlement agreement, completely legal settlement agreement that was made years and years ago. I think what they've done was take each check or payment and an extrapolated account out of that. But I don't think it's going to be more than what we expected as far as the factual patterns are concerned.
So what should we all expect next week?
George, it's a great question. This is unprecedented in this country's history. I don't know what to expect other than an arraignment.
And what will that look like?
Through that normal process. Your guess is as good as mine. I understand they're going to be closing off blocks around the courthouse, shutting down the courthouse. We'll go in there and we'll proceed to see a judge at some point, plead not guilty, start talking about filing motions, which we will do immediately, and very aggressively regarding the legal viability of this case.
Mugshot, handcuffs, perp walk.
Look, I'm sure they'll try and get every ounce of publicity they can from this thing. The president will not be put in handcuffs. As far as the mugshot's concerned, perp walk, as I said, I'm sure they'll try to make sure they get some, joy out of this by parading him. But, I think this is a different situation. You have Secret Service involved here, George. You have the New York State Court Officers Union with Dennis Quirk and his team, the police department. So it's a lot of groups involved here, and I don't think they're going to allow this to become a circus as much as humanly possible.
You say the rule of law is dying, but we do have a precedent here for this kind of case. Former Senator, presidential candidate John Edwards was indicted. Now, he was not convicted. That is true, but this is not an unprecedented case.
It is, George. He was not only not convicted, that was a federal prosecution because these are federal campaign election laws. And that was a federal prosecution by the U.S. Attorney's Office who ultimately dismissed the case. And the key distinction there, George, was that John Edwards case, the payments were made by a donor. So that means campaign finance laws are invoked. Despite that, they still found that the payments were not made exclusively for the purpose of the campaign, and therefore the Justice Department dismissed that case. Look, the FEC, the Federal Election Committee here, did not proceed in this case. They found there was no violation. I've spoken to former Chairman Bradley Smith of the FEC, and he said there was no violation of campaign finance laws. The Justice Department here did not proceed in this case against the president. So there is really...
It's crazy that, like, the Justice Department and the FEC didn't choose to take action against him. Choose to take action against him when he was the president, and like that was part of the reason why they chose not to take action against him. I guess it's okay then if the former FEC chair said that there's nothing wrong with this. Move along. Is he a cop union guy or a lawyer? Why not both? Every single fucking Trump lawyer we've seen so far is basically just like the most cop-looking lawyers. If you had to predict right now, does he get found guilty or not? One, I don't think he will be. Depending on the charges, that might change, obviously. But from what we know, what the charges might be, it doesn't seem like it. And two, even if he does, like, it's a fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, even if he is found guilty, it's just like a very, like, the maximum sentence for what we speculate he's being charged for right now is 4 years. On the misdemeanor, yes. On the felony, no. The misdemeanor is 1 year, the misdemeanor is 1 year. Felony is 4 years. 4 years. I don't think that they will get it. They literally directed that they couldn't prosecute the president by the attorney general. Not only that the FEC has 6 commissioners that are appointed by the president. Shocking they didn't go after the President Donald Trump. Yeah. Like them pointing out that the FEC did not go after him, or like that they didn't go after him for this violation is pretty funny, because like I said, Trump very openly stated, like, no, we're not doing any of that shit.
No precedent for this case. This is done with personal money, George. That's the key distinguishing factor. And when it's done with personal money, it's a bright line test. Statutorily, the law says this: if the payment was made with personal funds, and it would have been made irrespective of the candidate's campaign, it's outside of campaign finance, and clearly that's what you have here.
Well, that may not be what Michael Cohen obviously is going to be testifying to. David Pecker, the former head of the National Enquirer.
He's going to have to testify to that. George, he's going to have to, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but he's going to have to testify to that. If his under oath testimony when he pled guilty and has now become, a changed man and a bastion of democracy, if that testimony was not perjurious when he pled guilty, he's going to say that because he said that in his guilty plea.
Well, I think we will find out what the evidence is when the trial proceeds, if it does indeed proceed, when we all see the arraignment as well. But this is not the only case that Donald Trump could be facing. We also have the Fulton County grand jury, the special prosecutor. How concerned are you?
Look, we have to deal with it one at a time, George. Right now, I'm dealing with this case exclusively and another civil matter for the president, but not the Fulton County case and not the special prosecutor's case at this point. And really, I'm not even thinking about those cases at all. I'm laser focused on this case, and I'll keep all my attention here until this is resolved.
Joe Tacopina, thanks.